Hey world builders, welcome back to Build Together. This is day 147. Today's prompt is, does your world have a taxonomy system? Who is responsible for cataloging the creatures in it? And this one's from Predwin the Great on TikTok and in the Discord. I wrote a document called Taxonomy. I had some ideas about this already, but I went and did some research for this one especially because I wanted to know a little bit about sort of how much taxonomy was coming along around the Middle Ages. There's actually, I recommend looking into this. There's some fun stuff from the Middle Ages of the Great Chain of Being, which sounds like a world building thing, but just something that we actually had for a while, which was very much this taxonomical but almost more cosmological diagram of creatures from God to minerals. It's just kind of a funny thing in history. Sometimes you think your world building's a little bit weird or on the nose. Don't worry. That's how real life is. But the taxonomy of Attovia works like that. There are three sort of tiers of classification. The first is material. Material is whether or not the creature is a material or extra-material being, specifically whether or not it exists within material or extra-material worlds. For maybe an obvious reason, the vast majority of creatures are categorized as material creatures because the ones observing them are also material and so aren't very privy to viewing extra-material world creatures. But there are a few that we know about, like Kraken spawn. On rare occasions, there is some disagreement on how, whether or not the majority of something exists in the material or extra-material plane, but generally it doesn't take very long for this decision to be made, which is usually just by kind of the wizard group of intellectuals that kind of collaborate on projects like this. The second tier is Kiohel, which is kind of the least specific and has kind of come up a lot to be argued against or argued about the most when categorizing creatures, which is which deity made this creature. That seems to define a lot of the consistent characteristics between entities. And so Kiohel is what god do we think made this. Then finally, Hofahel is what does the creature look like? What are the consistent defining appearance and features of this creature? And so then all together, say you have a Nopine, you say Nopine of turbulence of the material. So Nopine is the Hofahel, that is the name it's given. Generally, just the Zoharian name is used, and the current academic sphere is trying to find a more consistent way to name things. And then of turbulence is the deity that it was believed to create Nopine, and Nopine is believed to be a material creature. And that is how the Attovian taxonomy system works. Does your world have a taxonomy system? Who's responsible for categorizing the creatures? Thanks for building together.